Hey guys, it's Deborah. I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about the year I believe, or it seems that we are in. I've been doing several videos on the Kaduri prophecies because we're so close to some of them coming to pass or the prophecies to fail, and also the elections and everything, and Nisan 1 being the biblical New Year, even though Rosh Hashanah is the New Year the Jewish people celebrate right now. So, because that's coming up, that would be year 5780, and it really connects with the Kaduri prophecies. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, if you saw my last, like maybe 2 videos, it kind of goes into those prophecies. So, basically, this video is not about that. It's about me doing digging and searching to figure out what year are we really in, and do we know? Can we tell? Because I do believe in the possible interpretation of the 6,000 year Earth, and the 6,000 year, I guess, dispensation with man, and then 1,000 years of rest, which would be the millennial kingdom. So that would make a 7,000 time period of Earth. So I had to dig because I was very confused because I'm like, wait a minute, it just hit me. Why do the Jews say it's year 5780? Now, I know a lot of you probably have dug into this and understand this and know this already, so this might be old news for you, but I think you'll enjoy this. I piggybacked the research of another watchman, and I'll explain that in a minute. But what I wanted to say was just that I was sitting thinking, like, why are the Jews saying it's year 5780? This 6,000 year Earth situation is not working out, because if it's 5780, we have over 200 years to make it to year 6,000. And even for the Jews, I found that confusing because many of the rabbis do believe in the 6,000 year plan as well, and that the Davidic dynasty will happen in the after 6,000 years. So I did find it strange that they're okay with saying the Davidic dynasty is about to take place, but it's only year 5780. It just didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, well, what do Christians say? Because clearly it's not year 2020. I think God respects all calendars in the way that he can talk to people where they're at. Like if you only have a, NIV Bible and maybe there's some errors or something in that, he can really do things. He can show you so many things through that Bible. But if you have a more accurate Bible, or if you have more accurate interpretation, or Hebrew or whatever, he meets you where you're at, and he takes you to next levels, and he expects you to grow. And if you can access this other material, he expects it of you, and will work with you there. So basically at this point, the world thinks we're in 2020, but clearly that count started at a certain point with the Gregorian calendar. And I don't in any way try to say that I know all about calendars. Like that was something that used to bug me. All this, there's this Jewish calendar, that calendar, this calendar's wrong, that calendar. All I wanted to do was find out, was there a possible way to see what year are we in? And is this possible that we're close to the 6,000th year? Is there any biblical way? Because that's the only truth I know. The word, is the only truth. So everything else I can't really trust. I can historical stuff and whatever, like the word is the way I would base it on. So I started digging because I'm like, okay, we're not in 5780, or are we? And we're not clearly in 2020. That's not the count of when the earth started. Obviously, the secular world believes this planet is millions or billions of years old. And I just wanted to know, how can I know? Are we close to the 6,000th year? Now, I know there's other watchmen and stuff who have different theories and things and whatever. I haven't been able to, figure out what everybody believes yet. But I found this one watchman and he had a great study on it. So I piggybacked that because I don't have the time to do the research that he did. Like he said, it took him 3 weeks to go through all the things in the Bible. So, I'm going to link his channel below, and I'll just go over the basics of what he said, and he goes into it in detail. So you go to his channel and you can see the long detailed form of this same thing, but I agree with what he's saying. And, when I have the time, I can go in and look at the numbers, should the Lord tarry and we're still here, and when I have the time, but I don't know when that would come. But it really eased my mind, and I think you're going to find it really interesting. So let's get into the short form version of what his conclusion that he came to was. First, really quickly, I just want to also bring up this verse. It says, "But do not overlook this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day." And remember, if 1 day of creation, there's 6 days of working, that would be 6,000 years, because 1 day is 1,000 years. This could be a clue and a hint for us. And then the seventh day was 1 day of resting. So the 7,000th year would be that millennial reign of rest on the earth. So that's where, in case anybody's like, why are you saying this about the 6,000 years and 7,000 year of rest? That's this verse that you can get that from. So let's start with Adam. So from Adam to Abraham, now he got 1,009. Okay, let me say this. What he's going to do is he wanted to see, I should say it's Watchman Cornelius. I'm not good with names. Anybody who's watched my channel, I forget his last name. Oh my gosh. And the one thing I'm like, I'm not going to forget his last name, and I forget, but it's Cornelius. And I'm going to put his link in the description box. I've seen his videos like once or twice before when I first started watching YouTube, and then I just found his channel again. So I found it because I was searching for this, and he did a really good study on it. You're going to like it. If you watch it, you're going to like it. Like, grab some tea or coffee and sit down, and you're going to like how he lays it out. What he decided to do was he said, I'm going to sit down and finalize this. Is it concrete in the Bible with no gaps that you can mark out the time from Adam onward? Is there a way to see, from Adam to his son to all the generations to this and that? Can you physically do it with the numbers that the Bible gives and add up to today's date, 2020? He made the video in 2017 or 2018. I can't remember now. But basically, you know what I mean. You could add it up to modern day calendar. And if so, boom, we're good to go, because then we can know what year we're in if we believe the Bible is truly God's word. So one thing I have to point out is he said that he was not going to count 6,000 years from the time the earth was created, like the first spark, poof. He was going to count from when God strived with man. Now, he has his reasons for that, and in the video you can see. So he said from the fall of Adam to today's date, he got to a number. So prior to Adam's fall, he wasn't believing, for his reasons, that you need to calculate that time. So while they're in the garden, he actually did find a way to calculate that. But prior to that, even before Adam was created, it says God created the earth in 6 days. So, really we can say it's 6 days, but he said he felt like he was supposed to start from the day that Adam fell, which is the day's amount of time that God would strive with man, was 6,000 years. He was trying to see, will it be 6,000 years? And then he was no longer going to be striving for the 7,000 year. When they were in the garden, God wasn't striving with man. And I'm probably not quoting that verse right, but he said, I will only strive with man for 120 years. My spirit will only. So basically, he was counting from the time that Adam fell, and he has his reasoning. Again, if you want a detailed description, there's a part 1 and part 2, and that's in the description box. So we're going to start counting from the time Adam, from Adam to Abraham. And now, first, we're going to count from his fall. We're not going to count from the day Adam was born, and I'll explain that shortly after why and stuff like that. But let's do that because it's all written out. And again, there's no gaps. We can know to the number, exact numbers, how long it was from certain time periods to get us to this date, and we can know what year we are in. So, okay, let's really get started. Okay, so first you have Adam to Abraham is 1,946 years. Now, funny, he said many people get the count 1,948 years, and he'll go into detail why, but I found that interesting that most people get 1,948 years. Think about it. Adam to Abraham, when God started the covenant with Abraham, is possibly 1,948 years. 1948 is when Israel was reestablished as a nation. So that is crazy. He got 1,946 years, but he said many people get 1,948 years. And there is that little discrepancy. Along the way, you'll see there's small discrepancies, but it still gives us a very clear idea where we could be, okay? So let's just use his numbers, but the fact that most people get, or many people get 1948 is absolutely crazy to me, because that's the year Israel was established as a nation. From Adam to Abraham, which is when the covenant is established, that's nuts. Anyway, that's the years Genesis, and then he goes into different verses. So you see here, Genesis 5 through 11. So we know there's 1,946 years between Adam and Abraham because of Genesis 5 through 11. Okay, and then Abraham to the promise was 99 years. So we know that. So he finds wherever there's numbers and tracking in the Bible. So you can use Genesis 17:1. So now you have 1,946 years. You have to add 99 years. Then from the promise of Abraham to the Exodus is 430 years. You can find that in Galatians 3:16 to 17. Okay, then from the Exodus to the death of Joshua, you have 70 years. And that's in Joshua 14:7 and Joshua 24:29. So we're adding these all up. We're doing the 1946 from the 99, the 430, then the 70 years. Then from the period of the judges, so from the death of Joshua to the period of the judges, you have 450 years, which you can find in Acts 13:20. This is amazing how it tracks it. Then from the period of the judges to Saul's reign, which is 40 years, which is in Acts 13:21. And then you have David's reign, which is another 40 years, which you find in 1 Kings 2:11. So we're going to add all these up in the end, and we're going to figure out what year are we in. How is it amazing that God has put this in his word? He's allowed us to figure this out. Okay, so then from Kings of Judah is 393.6 years. And that's in 1 Kings 14 through 2 Kings 8 and 2 Chronicles 24:36. You see the kind of research Brother Cornelius had to do that I do not have the time to do. But thank you for that he did this, okay? So then we now have to add on to all those other numbers 393.6. Okay, then you have the Babylonian captivity, which is 70 years. 2 Chronicles 36:21. So you add that on. Then from the creation of, okay, so now he's just showing the whole thing. And he says from the creation of Adam. So this is not from the fall of Adam. Sorry, he's saying from the creation of Adam to the end of the Babylonian captivity, there's in total 3,578.6 years. I forgot. Sorry. At first, he's starting from the creation of Adam, and then he'll talk about why he has to go from the fall of Adam. So I will explain that in a moment. But let's just backtrack here. So we're talking about from the creation of Adam to the end of the Babylonian captivity, you have 3,578.6 years, okay? Then you have Cyrus, who conquered Babylon and rescued Israel in 539 BC. So from 539 BC to the present, you have 2,555 years on the Gregorian calendar. Okay, so he summed it up that all that time before the Cyrus conquered Babylon, you have 3,578.6 years. So we know we're further than that along in history. And then from 539 BC to the present is another 2,555 years. So once we get to the present, we're good to go. So you would just add the 3,578.6 to the 2,555. And then you could start counting from our new calendar. But there is a little bit of a trick, because 2,555 years it has to be translated into biblical Hebrew years, which actually equals 2,512.6. Like there's less years, because he felt like he should use the biblical calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. He stayed clear of it. 2,512.6 years with the leap years factor in. So he even factored in leap years. So what he was doing was, remember, it's not like a 365-day year. It's totally different. So if you add the 3,578.6 years, which was before Cyrus conquered Babylon, you have, so then, it's 3,578.6 years plus 2,512.6 years. That equals 6,091 years from the creation of Adam. So remember, he's taking the years prior to the conquest, and then he's adding the 2,512.6 years, which is after, but he uses it he's not using it in the Gregorian calendar. He's using it with the Hebrew calendar and the years that they're counting. It's not 365 days, and he's using leap years and everything. So that would bring you from the creation of Adam to when he made the video, which was either 2017 or 2018, it brought him to 6,091 years, meaning it was over the 6,000th year. And he's like, what? What? No, Lord, we're past 6,000 years? That doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. And that's when it came to him that he put this. However, the 6,000-year prophecy for the time of man does not start with creation. It starts with the fall of Adam. So then that's when he made a part 2 video, because then you have to figure out how old was Adam when he fell, because that's the only way to get the proper numbers, because you don't want to know how old he was while he was in Eden. You want to know when he fell, how old was he? And then you could start from that time limit, because it starts counting how old he was when he had certain children and stuff. And that's how Brother Cornelius did it. Now, again, for the detailed analysis, go into his videos and he's going to explain it much better in that way. But I just had to bring this to you guys because it's really encouraging. Okay, so first of all, it looked like back in 2017, we were at 6,091, which would be like, okay, this whole thing needs to be thrown out. The 6,000 years and the 1,000 years millennial reign, it just is not working. Until he realizes, wait, how old was Adam at the fall? And should we be counting from the moment of creation, or should we be counting from the fall? Because that's when God started to strive with man. That's when this 6,000 year count happened. It's a dispensation, okay? And then there's a 1,000 year dispensation of peace. Because remember, 6,000 years, sin entered the world. There was a fall. You don't need 1,000 years of peace if you have peace on the earth. Eden was pure peace. Eden was the millennial reign. You want to start from when the Eden time ended, the peaceful time ended, and you had 6,000 years of striving with man, which is work for God. And then you have to figure out when that is, and then the 1,000 year of millennial reign and peace. So that is so cool, because then you're like, okay, well, what is it? So I'm leaving you hanging. So I am going to tell you in this video, because this is like a short summary of his video. I am going to tell you, but he did it in 2 parts. So the goal that we want to find out now is, how old was Adam when he was kicked out of Eden? So like I said, this is a synopsis, a quick overview of the longer video. You will find pleasure and joy as you research with Brother Cornelius and flip the pages, and it's fun and to watch him dig and his excitement and stuff. But this is like when you go on a review of a movie and you know the beginning and the end. This is it. So dun dun dun. He concluded that Adam was between 98 and 100 when he was kicked out of Eden. He has reasoning for this, and you will find that in part 2. I'm not going to go into the details that he came across for that. Now, all of this could be a little bit off. The other stuff I talked about, the numbers, are not off. That is the Bible telling you how long certain periods were of time, how old people were when they had children, how long certain captivities lasted. You add them together and you literally get to 6,091, okay? But when you want to take some numbers off, because you have to figure out when did the striving with man begin, you figure, okay, now I have to 6,091. How old was Adam when he was kicked out? He got to the number 98 to 100. Okay, there's a little bit of discrepancy, and he'll explain why. So what does that mean for us today? Because unfortunately, he made the video a couple years ago, and now here we are today. So what that means is we are in year, most likely, 5993, not 5780, as the Jews say. They think we're going into year 5780, which to us, I believe it is 5993. Okay, now that's with using all those numbers that we broke down of all that time period that is written in the Bible, that is not guessing. There's no guesswork. But then instead of, it gives you to 6,091, but then you have to take off Adam's age. And when you do that in the possibility time frame, and then I have to add on the years after he made the video, which was in 2017, because he had us at year 5991 in 2017 or 2018, whenever he made the video. So now it would put us to 5993, okay? So, and again, he had some discrepancy with the numbers. I think he had a 1 or 2 year gap. So there's a little bit there. Meaning, well, number one, like I said, it makes a lot more sense with the Jews believing the Davidic dynasty is about to start. Because 5993, if 2020 is 5993, then 6,000 years would bring you to 2027. So that makes a ton of sense for Christians, because if 2020 is 5993 and you give a 7 year allotment for the tribulation, that brings you to 2027, and that would give you the 1,000 year millennial reign, would finalize the 7,000 years perfectly and nicely. And like, how crazy is it that you can literally go through scriptures and you can see what year we're in? Okay, you can say, well, maybe the earth is 1,000,000 years old and prior to Adam it was 1,000,000 years, but that wouldn't make much sense because it said God did create the earth in 7 days, so you really only would have to add on 1 week. So no, it's not 1,000,000 years old anyway. Regardless, if you do this calculation from when the fall began, which makes sense, it really does make sense from when he strived with man, because 6,000 years of striving with man is work. Before the fall, it was not work. And then the last 1,000 years, again, is rest. Jesus can rest. He doesn't have to work and create. The Father's not creating or working. The Holy Spirit's not striving. It's peace. So I hope this made sense to you, and I hope it encouraged you, because look what I just said. It said 5993 would be 2020. Now, I think there is room for different interpretation here, clearly. The stuff clearly laid out in the Bible, the 6,091, it's laid out. But if you do we don't know how old Adam was exactly when he fell, but there are ways that Cornelius, with maybe a 95% accuracy, he was saying it seems like he was around between, it could have been 98 to 100 or 99 to 100. You'll see in part 2 if you click on the video. But basically, all I'm saying is this is super encouraging, and this is fact, okay? Facts. It's not guessing. It's not wondering. Most of this has been facts. So we can see the season we're in. And then what you do is you look at the birth pains and you look at the other telltale signs that we're in the season. So you don't just say, well, it has to be numbers, it has to be facts, but hey, why not back it up? God is like that. That's how he is. He, like, science proves the Bible and history, and it all works together. So I'm just saying this was really encouraging when I saw this, because I'm like, this is not making sense. And so I started, because I'm like, how could it be 5780? And, the Jews actually are not calculating certain things. I've heard that they're not calculating times where they were in exile and things like that. So they leave out periods of time. And when they were in disobedience, they don't calculate those days. Just like, remember, we're in 2020. Like, we're calculating what we feel like calculating. What, at the time, when the Gregorian calendar was made, like, that was decided, this is how it's going to be. But if you use the Bible, that's the best calendar there is. And boom, you can see what year we are in. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, because if the 6,000 year interpretation is correct and the 1,000 year for the millennial reign is correct, I mean, this is pretty much the year. And we could be off by a year or two here and there, back or forth. But the season is the season. We don't know the day or hour, but we do know the season, and the season is the season, and the signs are here. So the birth pains, everything, it's all coinciding and converging. So, like I said, this was like kind of a synopsis of a longer, deeper study. And I'm telling you, you will enjoy watching Brother Cornelius get excited. You'll get excited with him as he's like digging in, and he's like, man, this is good. But again, it took him 3 weeks to get all these numbers down. And I'm so glad that he was able to, provide the numbers in written form so I could create this video. So again, I'll put the links in the description box for his part 1, and then part 2 is all about Adam and what age he believes he was when he fell. So I really hope that encouraged you guys. I mean, it seems like this is it. I mean, again, we can't know exactly 100% certain parts, but there's a lot that we can know precisely with no gaps. We can follow along, the patriarchs of the Bible and time periods that the Jews went through and everything like that. And then once you get to the modern calendar, it's cake. All you have to do is use the Hebrew years, because I believe God does follow that more than he would follow the Gregorian or any other calendar. So I think he would be using that. So we know how to calculate time that way. So anyway, yeah, I hope it encouraged you guys. And if you have any other thoughts on things, totally put comments below, because maybe there's things you guys know. Like, I am new to this, figuring out the calendars and the dates and all that stuff. And some people have been doing this for years and years and years, and all that credit to you guys. But this is, to me, really amazing. And it cleared a lot up for me. I'm so glad I dug into it. I'm so glad I sought the Lord. And lastly, I just want to say thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. I'm really, really, excited and happy to have grown the channel again, starting back over anew from my old channel and just starting afresh, in August. So I'm really, really thankful that you guys are enjoying the videos, and I'm glad to bless you with them. And I will just keep working while there's still day. And I love you guys very, very much. So until next time, I will talk to you again soon. God bless and shalom.